Hi, welcome back to part 2 of the mini-series. My name's Dr. Warrick Bishop, I'm a cardiologist and I'm focused on prevention. I just want to remind you that I believe heart attacks are preventable, and at the end of the day I want to see you live as well as possible for as long as possible by avoiding heart attack. Well, heart attack is all too common, we know that. But what are the significance of things like raised cholesterol? We hear it in the media all the time. Should we eat eggs or not eat eggs? If there's a high cholesterol in the family, is that good or bad? There's a lot of confusion out there. What do we do with blood pressure? What is a perfect blood pressure? I think most of us know that you shouldn't smoke, but what is the impact of smoking on heart disease and risk of heart attack? What should you do about it? And what do we mean by family history? Well, does that mean that anyone in the family at any age has had a heart attack, or is it more specific than that? Why do heart attacks appear to come out of the blue? And what if we could be more proactive in preventing heart attacks occurring? Well, that's what I'm all about. You would know as well as I do that we see stuff in the media all the time. Here's a picture of a checklist that turned up in a magazine or a newspaper. It's got all the stuff on there that we all know about. Things like keeping your blood pressure down, not smoking, being active, maintaining your weight, and eating well. Well, of course, people do that over and over, but people are still dying from heart attacks. So what's the gap? What's the missing link? Why is just doing these simple things not enough? It's not enough even for the stars, the famous people who you would think have the resource to do better and prevent themselves from running into troubles. So let's break that down and think about what our current model of care is, and then we can talk about how we can improve on that. What I'd like to do is start off with a risk calculator, and these are pretty standardly used right across the board for trying to understand an individual's risk of heart attack. Let's go through it. If you listen to the first mini-series episode, you'll remember I spoke about a fun runner who literally had a heart attack during a fun run. Well, let's use characteristics that are pretty similar to what the fun runner had. He was male, he was in his early 50s, his blood pressure was just a shade elevated, his cholesterol was pretty unremarkable, and his good cholesterol was also pretty unremarkable. He didn't have diabetes, and his ECG didn't show features of LVH, which means left ventricular hypertrophy or thickening. If you look at the image there, you'll see that the risk estimated by this risk calculator is 6% of an event over the next 5 years, and in fact gives a green thermometer, providing some reassurance. But of course that doesn't make sense, because our fun runner actually had an event. He had a heart attack and he would have died had it not been for people around who resuscitated him. So let me put to you the way I think we should be interpreting this risk calculator. Instead of saying that it indicates a risk of 6% over the next 5 years, what we should say, and what I should have said to this man in 2003 is this. I should have said, fun runner, based on your characteristics, this risk calculator is telling me that if I take 100 men with the same characteristics and follow those 100 men for 5 years, 6 of those men, i.e. 6%, will have a heart attack. I just don't know who out of the 100 are the 6. Because over the next 5 years, your event rate will either be 0%, nothing happens to you, or 100%, as it actually did happen for the fun runner. Let me see if I can present that in a slightly different way. Here's a cartoon which is light-hearted but serious. This is the 50-year-old male 100 voice choir and the choir master is standing out the front and he says, "Okay guys, I've spoken to the doctor and he says 10 to 15 of you will have a heart attack in the next 10 years. Could I just ask that it's not all the tenors?" Well, what if we took that 50-year-old male 100 voice choir, and we could literally look at each of those individuals, taking a picture of their arteries to try and see whether they're healthy or not, looking at the inside, no longer trying to guess from a roll of the die on a risk calculator. If we could look straight into their heart, straight into their arteries and see what's going on, what a difference that could make. Well, here are some pictures showing us hearts where there's an indicator of something going on. You can see a green circle, no problem, and 2 red circles. Something going on in the heart, in the arteries, something to give us more information to be more precise for those individuals. Because what I'm all about is the current medical literature in combination with utilising current technology. I've been doing this for about 10 years and I'm passionate about finding problems before they occur. I think I mentioned in the first mini-series video that I often say to my patients, I have 2 skill sets. One is to fix you up after you've had a problem. But I also have the skill set of preventing a problem in the first place. What would you rather me use? I believe it's really important to improve heart health, and the way I do that is through education and support, because I believe we can save lives and there is a way to do things better. So how did I get here? How did I get fired up, engaged and passionate about trying to save lives, trying to help you live as well as possible for as long as possible? Well, the Fun Runner story really kicked it off for me. It made me realise I had to look for better ways. I realised that I need to be open to changes in technology, and that occurred. When I found that change in technology, and it was all about scanning the heart, I started to share that information with my colleagues, local cardiologists. I have to say I was an early adopter of that technology, and to a large degree I felt like a pioneer receiving the arrows. I also went and shared this information with the local doctors, and honestly, because it was still early and the cardiologists in the town hadn't picked up and supported the use of this technology, the local doctors, the family doctors, really didn't embrace it either. From a platform of some frustration, wanting to get this message out there, I decided that the person who is who's going to benefit the most from knowing this information is the patient. And I then set out to give patients that information in their hands so that they could be best informed to make the best decisions about their own health care. So this is where I am. I'm sharing with you because I know that not all doctors are familiar with the technology and how it could help you. I'm also aware that the best educated patients get the best health care. So let me educate you to your best health outcome. So I want to show you a path to your best heart health. Join me in part 3 of the mini-series to learn about how we scan the heart to evaluate risk of heart attack. I'll see you there. In the meantime, I believe heart attacks are preventable, and thank you for your attention.